You're about to listen to a new episode of Audio Signals. Get ready to take a journey into the known, the unknown, and everything in between. Recorded at no specific point in time nor space, ITSP Magazine's co-founders Marco Ciappelli and Sean Martin follow their passion and curiosity as they venture away from the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society to discover new stories worth being told. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Nintex is the global standard for business process management and automation. The Nintex platform helps their clients accelerate progress on their digital transformation journeys by quickly and easily managing, automating, and optimizing business processes. Learn more at nintex.com.
Blue Lava is the first business platform for CISOs to manage their security program. Blue Lava guides security leaders to effectively measure, optimize, and communicate their security program with confidence and ease in one platform. Learn more at bluelava.net.
Well, here we are. This is another episode of Audio Signals on ITSP Magazine. And, sometimes it's me and Sean, my partner in crime, but he unfortunately couldn't make it today. But it's going to be exciting. I don't need him today because my guest is someone that is going to fill up the space for a couple of people because he has great stories. And I'm sure that in a way or in another, you've heard of him or the movie that he was inspired by him and the team members that he had an experience with. Something unique. And I don't want to give away too much. I'm just excited to learn about where he came from and most importantly, what he's doing now, because he's giving back to the community what he's learned through this career. And his name is Devon Harris. You may know him for a cool movie that I've seen many times, Cool Running. And there was a great story about a Jamaican Bobsled team that made it to the Olympic. So we're going to hear about that, but a lot more than that. So Devon, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Marco, thank you so much as well. It's exciting, and I appreciate you having me on, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with you. I don't want to give away too much either, but I'm happy to share and answer the questions for sure.
These are conversations, so I'll ask you a couple of questions, but we're going to go with the flow, and I know that you have a ton of stories to share with us about the past, about the present, and I'm sure some visions for the future as well. So why don't we start with by yourself? I mean, share with our audience who you are and why you're wearing a T-shirt that says "Keep on pushing," even if people are going to hear it.
You mentioned that because since we're audio, nobody can see it, right?
That's why I wanted to mention that.
Let's start with "Keep on pushing," and as I mentioned, Cool Runnings, and which was inspired by the Jamaican Bobsled team, of which I was one of the original team members. I'm actually a 3-time Olympian, so I competed, in the 88 games in Calgary, and then in 92 in Albertville, France, up there in La Plagne, and then in Nagano, 98, my third Olympics. And that's what we do as bobsledders. We push the sled, and dude, that's as creative as I can get, man. Keep on pushing, because that's what you have to do. But fortunately, the philosophy also, this phrase, I think, leads to this philosophy of what all of us do in life as well. We have to keep on pushing against the twists and turns of this journey called life, and push against our own abilities, trying to do better than what we did previously, and working constantly and transforming ourselves and the people and the organizations around us. So if you think about it, all of us have been pushing all our lives, and my journey interestingly started in a place called Olympic Gardens in Kingston. And you could argue that, is that where Jamaica raised all the Olympians? Well, no. Um,
Was this a sign? What that a sign, an omen for you to become an
Perhaps,
Olympian?
you know, there have been a few. I don't know the origin, how that place got its name, but there are a few roads there. You know, Arthur Winton Drive, Roden Crescent, McKinley Crescent, Lang Road, and the lovers and historians of track and field athletics would recognize those names to be the names of the first four guys who ever represented Jamaica in the Olympics. So it was one of the great 4x400-meter relay team of all times, you know. And then you've had Mike McCallum, who was a boxer, who was from Olympic Gardens, and then I was number two. I don't know. So in terms of more recent times, I was a second guy, and then now one of the greatest women's female sprinters of all time, Shelley-Ann Fraser-Pryce, is also from Olympic Gardens. You know, so maybe there's something in the water. I don't know, but it's a really rough neighborhood, man. Impoverished, challenged, violent, and that's kind of, you know, where I grew up. I think, though, I discovered sports really early in school. I loved being in school. I loved learning, but I loved playing perhaps just as much. And you know, discovered soccer, football, and the thing about sports, Marco, was thing I discovered was, wow, you know, when you're in the sporting arena on the soccer pitch, you know, the value of your pocket means nothing. It's the skill that you bring and the heart that you bring. And even when there may be a guy who is just as skilled or even more skilled than you are, what do you bring to the table when both of you are tired, exhausted? And I just kind of fell in love with that piece, that it's, you know, what you present to the world on the sporting field is really what's inside of you. But isn't that true?
Let me ask you something, because the first thing, I grew up doing sport myself, and I didn't make it to the Olympic, but I used to do 100 and 200 meters. So when you talk about the great Jamaican runners, I know a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
But what you just said is kind of like, you feel like sport, it levels the playing to a point where it doesn't matter where you come from. It's all about what you can bring to the table. Is that I can get from it?
In a sense, that's true. I mean, I think that sports is I don't know, brighter minds than me might disagree. Sports is the purest form of competition out there, because it is. It's what you were given naturally. That's all you're using, and that in terms of your natural athletic abilities, and then that thing that I believe is in all of us, that thing that's inside of us that you can tap into to bring out more of those physical talents. Now, not everybody taps into that power that's inside of us, whether it's on the sports field or the field of life. I think that's true, that we all have our particular talent in life, and we all have to deal with those challenging times when we're exhausted, or, you know, COVID-19 or whatever the uncontrollable event is. And you can tap into that power, that inner strength that's inside of you to get past those things, but not many people do.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk a little bit more about the past, because I know you have actually spent a lot of time in the military, and I can see, and I remember from a conversation that you had already on ITSP Magazine. I wasn't the one talking to you, but I actually read that interview about resiliency and how important. And I think resiliency, you know, you can put an equal sign in front and keep on pushing. I mean, that's kind of the same message right there. You know, you fell 7 times, you get up 8, and so on, and you keep going. So tell me about the importance of that military experience, and how maybe there is a parallel with your making it to the Olympic, coming from such a tough environment, and not be afraid to say, you know, I'm going to take this challenge, I'm going to bring it home.
Yeah, you know, so if we go back to, you know, coming from Olympic Gardens, well, you know, I've always wanted to be a soldier. And then I discovered you could actually enlist as an officer, which was a little bit more the more difficult path. But that's the one I'm like, oh my God, if I could do that, that would be amazing, you know. And but I also saw it, man, as the quickest way out of the ghettos for me. Like, you know, and I wanted to get out like yesterday, not today or tomorrow. I wanted to be an Olympic athlete as well, but I've started to describe that as my side hustle. That was that wasn't the main thing. The main thing was to become an army officer, you know. And challenging path there, but I got there, man. You know, I ended up doing my training at the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst, in England, which is the most prestigious military training school in the world. And you know, and then I really got to live that life that I spent my childhood dreaming about, being a soldier, being in the army, and then being an officer on top of it. And I absolutely love that. I mean, and so I got to live a double life, as it were. You know, I'd go off and because of the bobsled, the bobsled team idea came about very early in my army career. I was a young officer when the opportunity came up, and so you know I go off and I go to the Olympics, and I come back home and I take my bobsled uniform off and I put my army uniform on, and I would go back to work to doing that. So that thing that I love was, you know, I also love bobsledding, you know, and I would. It's
How did you get into that? Because let me tell, I've been in Jamaica. I've been as a young kid in Ocho Rio, just having fun. So it wasn't like really, but I have seen the island. I've seen the culture. I've seen the sun, and I've seen the ocean. And you know, as in the movie, the bobsled is the last thing you think when you're there. So how did this opportunity come up? You just said you were in the military, and then what?
Right. So two Americans who lived in Jamaica saw a push cart. If you have seen the movie Cool Runnings, you remember Sanka was racing this wooden cart down a winding mountain road, and to them, it you know, two crazy guys going down the side of a hill in a cart. Except for the ice, it reminded them of bobsledding. And then they discovered that a big part of a bobsled race is a start. You needed sprinters, and they couldn't get any of the guys on a summer team to do it, so they came to the army. Now, it's kind of interesting how the coincidence, a confluence of things. I'm 21 years old. I'm living the dream, man. I'm an army officer. And I remember I'm walking, and I'm having this intense conversation with myself. I'm like, so you're 21 years old. You have achieved your dream. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? You know, and I'm like, oh yeah, the Olympics. They were coming up. This was 1987. I'm having this conversation with myself, and the Olympics were coming up in 88 in Seoul, Korea. Was not thinking about the Winter Olympics, you know. Unlike you, I was not a sprinter. Well, I didn't do, maybe I was, but I just wasn't fast enough in Jamaica to consider myself a sprinter.
They're all fast there, so that's,
you know?
that's tough life.
Yeah. So I did middle distances, 800 and 1500. So I'm thinking, you know, the Olympics are coming up. Maybe I can get fit enough. And I ran a cross country race, and my colonel saw me and he's like, oh my God, he's fit. And so he told me to go to the team trials because of a philosophy in the army that says officers must always participate. And he had a bunch of enlisted men going. So he thought he'd send his young, fit officer to the team trials as well. And now that I'm going to the team trials, man, because before I didn't have any interest, my attitude shifted from, I'm not interested in this stupid idea of a bobsled team from Jamaica to, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have to make the team. So, you know, I just went to the team trials, and I worked hard, man. I put in some effort there, but I think they like my smile. I think that might have been one of.
It's like he may not win, but it's gonna be a good presence there.
Yeah, you know,
charisma.
There was this one test, the push test, which was with a makeshift sled on wheels, and I didn't know anything about bobsledding, but I thought to myself, man, if there's one test that's the most important, it's this one. And I ended up with the two fastest pushes. I pushed faster than even the fastest sprinter that was there. So I guess the smile plus the pushed me over the edge. You see, that's why I have to keep on pushing.
Yeah, it keeps coming back, this pushing thing.
Exactly, man. So
Let's talk about how you're pushing now. I mean, you said you reach your dream going in the military, making a career there. Then you reach another dream, which is the one that was about becoming an Olympian. And then I guess you ask yourself again, okay, now what?
What next?
So my guess is you want to bring to others this energy that you had.
Yeah, so this part of the journey, I couldn't even see it, in 88, 92, even not 98. It started coming into view in 98, but certainly those first two Olympics, I couldn't see that. I tell people all the time, go as far as you can see, though, because when you get there, you'll see further. And, as I was in Olympic Gardens looking out, the furthest I could truly see was the Army. And it's like I said, the Olympics was kind of like that other hill over there that would be nice to kind of visit. But then here's the thing: I visited that hill, the Olympics, and started traveling a little bit more and started to see more of the world and recognize that there were things out there, opportunities just that I could never have imagined, couldn't have seen from my vantage point in Olympic Gardens. So now I'm like, oh my God, I want some of this too. I didn't know that all of this was out there, right? And so the Army, that was a thing that was, oh Lord, if I could just do this, I couldn't ask for more, to just be the pinnacle of my achievements. Eventually became just a cool thing that I did, because there was more, and and so I left that and embarked on this new journey that I didn't know where it was going to take me. And it's kind of like, if you think of a landscape, you go uphill, and sometimes those valleys are deep, boy. And you're wondering, what were you thinking, but yeah, it's working out, I guess I should say. And so now I just kind of found a new direction, a new passion, a new purpose. This idea of sharing my insights with others and how they too can keep on pushing in their lives, right? Sometimes it means throwing caution to the wind and being totally uncomfortable, even to the point of you questioning I won't say you're questioning your good sense, but just questioning even your level of ambition, because those dark days can feel really dark, and you think, well, I've made a mess of my life now, kind of thing. But but you have to keep going.
Let me ask you one thing. So when you start traveling and you see like, wow, there's something else out there, right? You discover these things. And sometimes I have conversation with other mentors and other people that are, giving back to show kids that they can dream and they need to dream, right? I mean, you can look at the stars, say, you know what? I want to be an astronaut. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I ever can, but can I dream to do that? And there are kids that are not as privileged because it doesn't even come as a dream, right? Yeah. So tell me about the importance of showing, kids and that they need to look to the stars and to the moon and say, I can make it. I mean, once you get going, then you keep on pushing. But what's the first step to start pushing?
The first step is to dream, as it's just mentioned. If you think about, and I wrote about this in my book, Keep on Pushing.
Good. Let's talk about that.
Right. When kids are playing and they're imagining themselves, it's always like a superhero. It's always somebody who is amazing and does wonderful things. It's never, oh, them imagine themselves just being average and ordinary. And that's because I think innately we subconsciously know that we're extraordinary. And, and since kids aren't necessarily exposed to the quote unquote realities of life, they are free to dream as big and as broad as their imagination will allow them. It's just that as we get older, we start hearing, oh, that's not real. That's not realistic. And you realize that Superman was just really just a cartoon character kind of thing.
What are you talking about? Superman's real.
Except that, I was almost say, except that they don't realize that Superman is also within them, right?
Yeah.
It's as real as anything.
Exactly.
Dude, you can't let go of the dreams, man. What are you gonna do? I can't imagine a life where I let go of the dreams. Because you're dreaming this thing, you are setting a goal because you have concluded, whether consciously or subconsciously, that this particular situation is not where you want to be, that you can do so much better. And so you dream of that other place. That I like to use the analogy of you trying to cross a street. And so you're on this side of the street and it's like, man, it's okay. It could be just, to use the American Ebonics, it could just be all right. Could just be okay. Just all right. It could be horrible. Whatever it is, however that experience is for you at the moment, you're like, man, being on the other side of the street would be so much better than this right now. And so that's the first step, right? Having that image in your mind. And then you go, okay, I need to cross the street. But here's a problem, crossing the street. It's treacherous because you have traffic zooming on both sides and potholes and puddles. And, you put your foot off the pavement onto the street and like you get almost run over. And it is scary. And so you have a choice. You can brave the danger and eventually get across the other side of the street, or you can stay there and live a life of mediocrity.
A comfortable life of mediocrity.
Yes, exactly. I think people treat themselves into discomfort, into the comfort.
Okay.
I think they just play a trick on their mind. Like, it's not realistic. It's not even real anyway, so I'm just going to stay here. And I can't allow myself to accept that. I have to try. I'd rather get run over, man.
Okay.
Than stay on the side of the street there.
Could let me get into a little bit of the mentorship part. Like, could someone there with you on that side of the street to kind of tell you and push you, I'm going to use your word here, push you to be the best that you can be, and to tell you that, look, you have to take some risk in life. How important is that, instead of just being all on your shoulder and be alone on that side of the street?
But you have to be open to hearing the advice, though. That's the thing. And the person who's going to tell you, I think there are kind of two people, right? There's going to be the person who actually crossed the street and goes, man, it's a tough journey, but it's worth it. This is what it's like on the other side, man. You have to come, and you have to be open to hearing that message. And then there's the other person who is on the same side of the street with you and didn't go, and they're telling you that you should try because no, they're living a life of regret. They are sorry. They're regretful that they didn't go. And you have to be open to that message too. So I think if you, it starts with you, right? In no matter what, whether you have somebody to push you or not, to mentor you or not, it does start with you having that desire, creating that picture, that dream. And then, if you can get somebody who have demonstrated that, who can demonstrate to you, tell you what the journey was like for them, that becomes an additional impetus. to get you across.
So you're saying that the mentor needs a mentee that is willing to take to hear the stories.
I think so. You know how they say you can bring a horse to water, you can't make him drink.
That's true. That is so true. That is so true.
You do. The mentor need a cooperating mentee.
You're so right. Tell me about your foundation. You have a foundation.
Yeah, man.
Tell me about that.
Like I said, you know how creative I am. It's called the Keep On Pushing.
Keep on pushing. All right. That when I need to look for you, I'm gonna type in Google "Keep on pushing."
Yeah, man,
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find you.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So back in 2006, you're in Italy, right? The year they had the Olympics in Torino, right?
I know.
And so I kind of think of everything through how does it relate to the Olympics?
You go by the 4 years?
Exactly. Was it before this one or after, right? But I'd gone back to the old neighborhood, gone to my elementary school, and I was chatting with the principal about the biggest challenges they had there. It was kids were coming to school hungry. And I think we know that if they're hungry, they can't learn. If they can't learn, they don't get educated. And in a place like Jamaica, other places around the world too, if you've missed the bus, you've essentially missed the bus. And, being from those very circumstances, I know how important, just having a chance, by getting that basic education is. And so I started a foundation to kind of support that. It started with a breakfast program. We have a school supplies program. We've built what we call a sick base, kind of like a nurse's station. And we're kind of trying to take it to the next level now by we're in the process of establishing a computer lab there. That will obviously provide instructions for the kids within the school, but also some digital training for young people in the community as well. So the idea, Marco, is to provide some hope, some opportunity, right? To just kind of open their eyes to, give them some support first with the breakfast program and school supplies and so on. But more importantly, is a hope, and teaching them how to fish so that they can go off and go do their own thing.
It's hard to start making creative things and arts. And I mean, if you look in the history of humanity, first you need to feed yourself, take care of the basic, and then you can have the time and the brain to find the passion for something. So I mean, you really have to start with those basics. So how is that working? I mean, have you guys seen improvement in the way that kids receiving this?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, just speaking to the teachers about how once the breakfast program started, attendance was on the increase, punctuality was on the increase, behavior was better, performance in the classroom, test scores and so had improved as well, and just kind of cool to be at the school because look, I see myself in those kids, right? Like I run around in that schoolyard and I was in those school very classrooms, and to see that like there's would be a whole line of boys and they're like, I got one of the book, I got one of the bags, and then they want to show me their work in that they're doing in the notebooks, and the teachers have to come and say, go to your class, kind of stuff.
But see, like, doesn't this show that when we think about Superman, right? I mean, this is the imaginary guy with incredible power, although then some kryptonite is going to knock him down. But then
everybody has to deal with their challenges, right?
Exactly. Then you eventually find a way to get up. But I always say, sometimes you need to think that even just one word, one little action can make you a Superman in the eye of a kid. And isn't this what happened when they get to meet you and they look up at you?
I can just imagine that, if when I was one of those kids' age, seeing a guy like me come back, what that would have done. In fact, I can remember, I don't remember his last name. No, his first name was Peter. He had, because in Jamaica, you have to do these exams to get to high school. And like, oh my God, if I could pass this exam to go to high school. And I remember him, it was maybe two 2 or 3 years ahead of me in school, at the elementary school. And he had gone off to high school, and he came back and gave a talk to us. And I just remember going, oh, just kind of looking up at him, thinking, wow, look where he is now. And he was right here with me. And I'm hoping that my presence will do that for these kids. And I'm like, I used to be in this very schoolyard playing around.
Yeah.
And for them to go, wow, he's not that handsome. I'm so much better looking than this dude. I could do better. I'm so much smarter,
I have a better smile too.
Yep, that's what I mean. So hopefully they're looking at all of that and going, if he can do it, well, watch me.
There you go.
That's
a good inspiration right there. And then you say you wrote a book too, an ebook.
Oh yeah, so I've actually written 3 books. I wrote my first book was a children's book. Yes, I Can, the story of the Jamaican Bobsled team. And then I wrote a semi-autobiographical motivational book, Keep on Pushing: Hot Lessons from Cool Runnings, and then the ebook about how to set and achieve goals.
What's the feedback you get from this? I mean, is it coming from parents? Is it coming from who do you write these books for?
Yeah, so obviously the children's book was for kids of all ages, to include those.
Yeah, my bad. Adults. I should have known that.
No, I said to include adults, and it's meant to obviously tell the story of the Jamaica Bobsled team, but it's meant to be inspirational, right? Meant to go, okay, these were the difficulties, and but this is what we did to overcome them. Working hard, dreaming, working as a team, and this is how you kids, by just saying yes I can, believing in yourself, right? So every time our team had the challenge, we said yes I can. That's what that was about. To hopefully encourage them to, in their young lives, to keep saying yes I can to themselves. And then keep on pushing, obviously, a wider audience. I really try to connect the bobsled experience, attach them to some life lessons, and obviously life outside of bobsled and growing up in Olympian Gardens and the Army experience and beyond, dealing with fear, for example, or working as a team and diversity, accepting different perspectives in life, all of those things that try to share with a wider audience, a business audience, or people who are interested in personal growth and development. And goals, again, we all need goals, right? It's a master skill of life, of success. So, try to share some ideas and how important goals are, and why is it important to set them and how to set them and achieve them, right? Is one thing. I don't want to say just set goals, set and achieve goals. And sometimes we kind of stop at the setting piece, and then we don't do the work, the visualization, and the internal work that we need to do to actually achieve those goals.
Can you give me an example on what's a good way to achieve a goal? To set a goal. Let's start with that.
Yeah, by doing what I call the hardest work there is, introspection, self-searching, trying to figure out what is it that I really want? Where do I want my life to be? And you could choose any time frame. Where would I like to be a year from now? 5 years from now. Maybe we can't see 5 years from now, but how about a year from now, 2 years from now? And then you go, okay, so this is what I want to do. What do I need to do to get there? And then you just kind of, so that would be the goal. I want to be on the podcast with Marco in a year, man.
Anytime.
That's right. Easy. What do I need to do then? Do I need to write a book? Okay, fine. What am I going to write about? Kind of thing. And sometimes it takes a while to kind of nail that down. But when you do, though, it connects, it resonates. It's one of the important things about goals, right? They should be yours. So when you have this goal now, this aim, you start breaking down the tiny steps, and it could sound ridiculous, like being a Jamaican want to go to the Winter Olympics, right? But once you start breaking down the steps that you need to take, it no longer seems so ridiculous. It's just like, if I can do this piece, bam, and I get it, then the next piece and the next piece, right?
So
And
is
so
it breaking down the main goal into achievable, smaller timeline?
precisely,
Cool.
and
All right.
timeline and action steps.
Mm.
I need to learn how to push a sled. Oh, these are the techniques, and you work on that. Oh, what else do we need to? Well, actually, you kind of need to go down a bobsled track for real. Otherwise, you're not a bobsledder. Well, how do we do that? Oh, you need to go to Canada, and all the things that you need to do to make that happen. And
Right.
you get there, and and you are working. You're doing this internal work too, because the next step could entail a ton load of fears, like me trying to go down a bobsled track and being scared of speed and height. And you're like, okay, but I'm here now, so we have to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be willing to just face your fears every step of the way as you move into a new phase of the process.
Right. So as we start wrapping up, although of course I could talk to you forever and maybe you come back, but what's your next goal that you set for yourself? I mean, you have achieved so much and you're giving back. I'm pretty sure that you have something else on the radar already.
Yeah, so I've been talking about the soul searching, thinking about what the next book I want to write, but actually want it to be a bestseller this time.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I'm soul searching. I'm searching for that idea, and then really there's a lot of work left to be done with this foundation, man. It's just to have a little breakfast program and so on is not enough, especially there's a lot of growth, so much work to do, as you can imagine. And so I'm hoping to grow the work beyond my school, beyond the neighborhood, across Jamaica, across the Caribbean, into South and Central America, in all facets, whether it's providing whatever it is that's needed in a particular area. It might be to build a school, it might be to build a lab, support a lab, and train young kids. So there's a lot left to do.
Yeah, that's what's going to be one of my questions about being able to scale to these dreams as well, right?
Yeah,
so you started with Jamaica, your school, so that got to give you that extra motivation to do it, because I can think myself walking back into my elementary school and make a difference there. So, and then scaling out there and using your image to do that, I think is important. But who is also working with you? I mean, I know you work with the Mentor Project. I know you have other organizations that are supporting what you do. How important is to have a team behind you that help you to make this dream come true?
Yeah, man, super important. I mean, you start where you are, and it's with three of us, me, myself, and I.
Yeah, I got that feeling. Yeah.
But then and so I'm always more than happy to lend a hand to other efforts. And so connected like with the Mentor Project, and I'm lending whatever experience and insights that I have, but they have been very valuable as well. I just had an amazing conversation with a lady here in New York yesterday as well, and we're going to partner together. I'm working with a digital company called CompTIA. I've had
them.
Yeah, my good friend.
We do a lot of cybersecurity conversations. So
see that exactly. So they have been supportive of Anomaly, another company, donated some refurbished computers. So by the way, if you have any refurbished computers, listeners, we're not talking about from 2001 now, but
not from 1832.
Yeah, not those ones. Not those ones. I haven't made a museum yet for those ones.
There you go.
For those that we can
existed
in a computer lab,
Okay, yeah, I want to take this 2 minutes to give a message to who's listening right now and say, you know what, I like Devon, I like what he's doing, I want to help. What can they do? Is there a website? Is it something that they can do to participate?
Yeah, our website is keeponpushing.org. Perhaps the easiest way to find me though is via my email, which is easy. It's Devon@devonharris.com. Devon@devonharris.com. So if you are inclined to just make a monetary donation, it's easier if you connect with me. I send you the link where you can. The Keep on Pushing Foundation is a not-for-profit 501c3 here, so we're perfectly legal here in New York. And like I said, we're looking to develop this computer lab and grow that, not just this one lab, but we're starting there. The plan is to duplicate that in many, many other schools around the country. And so, we're going to need some support with that, whether monetary donations or the donation of used equipment that are obviously still good and viable.
Mm-hmm.
We accept all, school bags, books, notebooks, pencils, everything.
Cool. Well, I hope that I know a lot of our audience is in the tech world, is in the cybersecurity, is in the technology. So hopefully somebody could answer to this. And for all of you listening, apart from the fact that Devon already said how to get in touch with him, we will have links to the organization. We will have links to your LinkedIn, wherever, any way that you have to get in touch with him. And I highly suggest to share this. Of course, if you're here, you already listened to it, but to share this conversation and also visit the website, keeponpushing.org. And if you can help, do so. I think as far as ITSP Magazine is concerned, we'll be more than happy to keep sharing the word, because we support definitely what you're doing. And definitely honored to have shared this 40 minutes with you and have this conversation. And man, anytime you want to come back, you have a new book, come on. Tell me about it. Keep pushing. Let's do it together.
I can't believe it's 40 minutes already. Time flies when you're having fun. But thank you so much for having me.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and I really appreciate the work that you are doing as well, Marco. Encourage the audience to keep on listening and keep on sharing, what Marco is offering here as well.
Well, I appreciate that. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Devon. I hope I talk to you again very, very soon.
Yeah, man, definitely.
And keep on pushing.
Keep on pushing, my man.
Blue Lava is the first business platform for CISOs to manage their security program. Blue Lava guides security leaders to effectively measure, optimize, and communicate their security program with confidence and ease in one platform. Learn more at bluelava.net.
Nintex is the global standard for business process management and automation. The Nintex platform helps their clients accelerate progress on their digital transformation journeys by quickly and easily managing, automating, and optimizing business processes. Learn more at nintex.com.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Audio Signals. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society, and some even beyond that.